A well-curated watch list is the secret weapon of every successful trader. Listen, the best moves, now we love the day oneers as we call them, those big moves that happen, typically right around the market open. Love those trades. But for many of you that are really busy or you're new, timing. It's tough to find the timing. So the beauty of being able to build a watch list for the best movers from the previous day, looking for the specific criteria we like to trade, is you can be ready for those day two continuation plays or one of our favorite patterns, the day three surge, okay? And by having that watch list ready, I recommend doing it at the end of the day, but you can do it at night. You can even do it the next day. You can do a lot of things. Number one, you can get yourself ready for high predictable setups, and using the power of alerts, by mapping out that watch list, dropping those alerts at key levels, you can be kind of an automated trader. No, not fully. You still got to react to the alert and enter the order and do all of that. But you don't have to sit there and stare at the screen for hours and hours a day. Now, I do that. A lot of people do that. But if you're really busy, what do? You try and sit there for 4 hours and hope a trade shows up? Or do you use a watch list and alerts to be ready when the stocks make their move? And here's the other good thing. A lot of people think it's a bad thing. I think it's a good thing. If none of these stocks are a day two continuation play or fail to do a day three surge, well, no big deal. You just stay in cash, okay? Successful trading isn't trading everything. It's trading the best setups. So let's say we build a watch list and none of these stock hit the next day. Well, you just don't trade that day. No big deal. And maybe you're under the PDT and you're limited in the amount of trades you can make anyway. So I love it because you just trade when it's necessary and you don't trade when it's not necessary. And a strong watch list saves time, boosts success. I mean, imagine starting your day tomorrow with the top stocks primed and ready for action. That's the power of a good watch list. So let's kind of go over what we do and some of the techniques that we use. Now, one thing I recommend doing is something that I call the rolling watch list methodology. And it's a really simple concept. I mean, a lot of people overcomplicate it, but you really have an individual watch list for each day of the week. And all that means is you have a named watch list Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Okay. And what I start when I build any watch list for the next day is I go back a few days and I'm looking for stocks that have held their gains. In penny stocks and low price stocks, a lot of them are what we call one and done. They're great in the morning. They fade all afternoon. Second day, they gap down. Third day, they gap down further. And about a week later, they're all the way back where they came from. That's not what we're looking for. We want those big spikers that held their gains and then set up for the second leg. So the best way to do that, just looking at charts, adding stocks from the previous day, second day before, maybe third, even fourth, basically going back. And here's the thing. You find a stock, kind of rare, but you find a stock that's held up for 5 days. So today is Thursday. If I go all the way back to last Thursday's watch list and this stock is still near its highs, man, something's coming. I mean, somebody's supporting the bid, someone's holding this stock up, and the chance of a second leg being explosive is really, really high. So just have those name setups and do this every day. Now, I was a part-time trader for 6 or 7 years, still did this every day, whether I could trade or not. It doesn't take long. I mean, we're talking 10 to 15 minutes to go through the biggest gainers, look at the charts. If they held their gains, add them to watch list. So let's kind of do that real quickly for this day. I'm going to start out with the biggest percent gainer of the day, BMRA. Now, this stock closed up 105%, but in my opinion, doesn't get rolled to tomorrow's watch list because if you notice, it was a great day trade in the beginning, but then faded all day, volume's completely gone, not really something we look for. Next, I'm going to go down to Foxo. Ooh, now we got something we're talking about. So notice the difference in the chart. Foxo was a midday runner. They had some news. This thing's been a many time former runner. And you can see it went from about 18 cents to 37 cents, almost 100% move. And right now is trading right around the highs. So this is a stock definitely adding to the watch list for the next day. Now let's go through, grab a couple more here just to kind of compare and contrast. DATS, okay? DATS, great morning trade, faded into the end of the day. Not something we want to add for the watch list tomorrow. We can still set alerts and be ready, but not something that I would consider ideal. Let's jump over to FSI, okay? This is a very nice looking chart because you can see it tested 6 early in the day, pulled back, consolidated very nicely at VWAP, and then had an after hours run up right into resistance. This might be my favorite for tomorrow out of this, small hand set of examples, because you'll notice that resistance line right there at 622. That's highlighted in green because Oracle, our day trading algorithm, has predicted that that is a key resistance levels. And when that bright green line, the reason it's bright green is that's the major resistance level. When that breaks, there's a crazy high likelihood of a follow-through trade. And I can couple that with that chart action that we like to look for, and the fact that it's tested that level twice. My buddy Ben Sturgill loves to call it the 3 times a lady trade, but it's true. Like when you get that third test of resistance, they almost always follow through and become great spikers. So now this one gets added to the watch list, and we're basically just going to repeat this every day, going through the biggest gainers, looking for the, forgetting the faders like the BMRAs and the DATs, and looking for the FOXOs and the FSIs. Now, what's the second part of that process? And this is where StocksToTrade comes in handy. And listen, flat out, you can do this on pretty much any real trading platform. I'm just going to set an alert slightly below that key level. And then I'm just going to say FSI. Now, I have my own terminology, but I say day twoing, okay? Day twoing might be kind of a weird term. You can call it whatever you want. You could say FSI at a key level or however you want to put it. So now, with that alert slightly below that key level, I get notified when it's creeping up against that level. I have time to put my orders in. I have time to get ready for that trade and execute if it does bust that level. Other great thing that I love about this chart is you have basically that resistance level and support level here in after hours to set your risk off of. So now you take the break. A good stop loss would be around 6. In that scenario, if you get filled at 622, you got about 20 cents of risk. I think this stock could easily test 7+ if it goes. Also a big breakout on the daily. Look at that volume. Ooh, that's a beautiful chart. So the odds of this thing day twoing, as I say, or maybe even if it does go dormant tomorrow. Now, that's the beauty of the day 3 surge pattern. We see a lot of these that go wild day 1, just kind of chop around below that resistance level and break on day 3. So these are valid trades all through the week. You can be prepared in advance, and all it takes is looking for strong charts, not weak charts, identifying the stocks that are closed strong, held the majority of their gains, and then using Oracle to then guide you through that trade. And what I would say is, cap that list each day at about 5 stocks. Almost every day, there's only going to be a small handful. If you get to the point where you got 6, 7, 8, 10, it's too many. Winnow it down. And now you might ask, how do I win it down? Easiest way, just volume. Okay. If you've got 8 or 9 stocks on your next day's watch list, just scratch the lowest volume ones. Keep the highest volume ones, because volume means buyer interest. So even if it does match these chart patterns, if it's not trading crazy unusual volume, which you can see on FSI. I mean, now the volume, my volume chart is scaled. So you might be looking at that thinking this thing didn't even trade. Well, it's not that. The volume scales because today was such a huge day that it makes every previous day almost imperceptible. That's exactly what we want, because that means that this was a top stock all day, and the odds of it continuing multiple days after that, very high. So it's really simple, okay? Now it takes a little bit of time, but 15 minutes a day, I mean, are you willing to spend 15 minutes a day to identify really great setups that don't require staring at the computer all day long? I mean, you could trade 8 hours of watching charts for 15 minutes to be alerted ahead of the move and As I mentioned, if it doesn't break 622, just forget it. Don't even think about it. Only think about it if it hits the alerts. So have you used the rolling watch list methodology? Are you doing that work? I don't want you to miss a trade just because it went dormant for a day. And a lot of you probably happens to. You're like, oh, where did this stock come from? You look at the day 2 or 3 day chart, and you're like, oh, it's exactly what Tim just talked about on that video. So keep your watch list small, and actually let me know how many stocks you have on your watch list right now. Some of you might be guilty of this. I've seen it. People with like 50 stocks on watch. I'm like, no. The odds of 50 stocks being in play, and how do you watch 50 stocks? Even with alerts. I mean, you'd have alerts going off all the time. How do you actually capitalize on that? Let me know how many stocks you have on your watch list. And I mentioned a lot of these strategies and techniques and methodologies using Oracle. If you've never heard of Oracle, it's the absolute best day trading algorithm out there. Maps out all the charts for you, gives you entry signals, does a lot of the heavy lifting for you. Then you add in a lot of the stuff that I teach inside the daily income trader system, which includes the Oracle algorithm. Really a great way to refine your process and become a better trader. So if you're interested in that kind of stuff, daily webinars, trade alerts, algos, software, scanners, worksheets, books, all of that's included in the daily income trader system. Hit that link below. It's a live webinar. We do them multiple times a day, even on the weekend. It gives you a full tour of the system. You can see everything that I didn't cover in this brief video. And if it's right for you, you can join me every trading day in the daily income trader system.